everyone, I'm GSoC. I'm a GSoC admin at OpenMRS. We are with another episode of our GSoC podcast series. And today I have a special guest. That's Dr. Ian Bacher from the University of Washington, a key contributor to OpenMRS. And today we are going to talk about his GSoC project, the project that he is mentoring, the Service Queues Improvement Project. Hi, Ian.
Hey, GSoC. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for joining today's podcast. So, to get things started, can you tell us a bit about what service queue is about?
Sure. So the idea is pretty simple. OpenMRS is widely used in outpatient care settings, and in those settings, it's important to know the order that people came in, who needs to be seen next, if there are any people who come in with specific, priority issues that they need to be assigned.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be able to track that and display that to users. And the service queues feature is really about the parts of the application that allow us to have a list of everybody who came in, what they're waiting for, and to be able to track how long they've been waiting and all of that.
Okay. So, is there any kind of existing implementations at OpenMRS regarding service queues, or this is going to be a brand new project?
So we have an existing implementation, but it's not very good. So the goal of this
Okay.
project, as it's called, the improving service queues thing, right, is to
Yeah.
improve what we have and take it so that we can remove a lot of the bugs that are in the existing implementation to make things smoother and faster. This is really a core piece of how patients are managed in
Uh-huh.
OpenMRS. So yeah, it's a
Okay.
really important thing that we get right.
Yeah, I know, right? Because it's very crucial feature at OpenMRS. And at the end of this GSoC project, like the target is to complete this within 12 weeks, right? So at the end of these 12 weeks, like how that the end result would look like.
So ideally, we're in the process right now of designing a revamped entry page that heavily features the service queues. So ideally, by the end of the 12-week process, when you log into OpenMRS, your default view will have these service queues nice front and center. Everything will look exactly the way that we have. We have a bunch of designs about how it's supposed to look. We'll have it looking like that, and we'll have everything running quickly, which is another one of the issues that we need to address.
Awesome. Okay. Uh, so now we know the requirement and now we have an idea about what we're expecting, and now they have to send a proposal to us, right? So what is there anything that you expect from these proposals, like any specific areas you think that they should cover on their
So
proposals?
sure. So when I pitched this project, I pitched it as both a back end and a front end, a sort of full stack project, and that's because there are a lot of things that need to be fixed on the front end, but there are some
Mm-hmm.
APIs on the back end that we'll need to replace, build out, and make more efficient. So
Mm-hmm.
one of the things I'm looking for in the proposal is evidence that the student is able to do both front end and back end development and has
Mm-hmm.
at least touched those part of the OpenMRS app, because they can be a little bit complex to get into. So it would be nice to be sure, you know, really my goal here is to make sure that when the GSoC coding period starts, that whoever gets this project will be able to hit the ground running.
Yeah, I know, right? So yeah, so those are the stuff that you focus on, and are you expecting any sort of a demo or proof of concept? I know this is an optional field, but like, is there anything that you expect like that?
I don't generally look for demos or proof of concepts so much as I look to make sure that the student has read the project, understands what it is, potentially
Mm-hmm.
reach out to me to clarify anything that's unclear, and that they've committed at least. I mean, we require as part of our proposals that students have committed some PRs. So it would be nice to see
Yes,
that
yeah.
that you've made at least one substantive PR to the front end and at least one substantive PR to the back end.
Okay.
It,
Okay.
yeah, and by substantive, I don't mean it has to be anything earth shattering or anything. Just a little bit more than tweaking some text or something.
I know, right? Yeah. So yeah, and so now the GSoC recently started the proposal application period, and we have several weeks until the deadline. So there might be newbies who join to the community by looking at this video, like through the GSoC website. So what they should do within this period, like someone who is willing to apply for this specific project, is there any specific repositories or anything
So
that you
the
think?
so this the service queues part is really in two different repositories. The front end piece is part of our is part of the patient management mono repo. That's OpenMRS ESM patient management, and you can find the
Mhm.
service queues app in there. And the backend part for it is in a repo called OpenMRS module queue. Conveniently enough. So at least at least if you wanted to start quickly looking at those repos, getting familiar with what the code base there looks like would be a great place to start.
Okay, and are there any specific calls that you recommend for them to join, or any forums or Slack channels?
Certainly I think the weekly O3 call is
Oh, three. Okay.
important for everybody who's working on it. I think also the OpenMRS 3 Help Me channel is a great place to get some help and advice. And yeah, so I would look for those. We also have a GSoC channel that it would be pretty
Yeah,
convenient to
to
do.
post
And
there, right?
yes, and I'm monitoring all of those channels. So if you want to reach out to me with questions, I prefer that you do it via Talk, our forum, or one of those public channels, because
Mm-hmm.
that prevents me from having to answer the same question 10 different times,
Absolutely. And this is open source, so we like highly encourage you to use public channels as much as possible, right? So, and also for those who might wondering like how to find these calls, you can visit om.rc/cal. So there you have the OpenMRS calendar, and you can find all these events. And Ian, so what are the technical skills that you expect from the student?
So I always expect everybody to have at least some level of familiarity with development. You should understand what a REST API is and how they generally work. For this specific project, you should definitely have a good working knowledge of React and TypeScript, since our front end is written completely in that. And you should also have at least some knowledge of Java and the ability to write Java code. That's pretty much what we're looking for.
Yeah. And what sort of non-technical sort of things that you expect from them?
So as much as possible, being able to communicate clearly and communicate well
Yeah,
is
that's
a
very important.
very important. Like
Yeah.
so much of this, like working on OpenMRS, we work across so many different time zones that being able to communicate, especially in written word, is very, very important.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
especially because often I only have time to reply to,
I
asynchronous
know.
messages and that sort of stuff
I
too.
know. I know. That's really important. And yeah, and also why a student should pick this project, like what sort of advantage this project will give in the long run, like
So
how this is going to benefit them.
I think first of all, this project, as I tried to say, is going to be a very like public part of OpenMRS. So you'll have contributed something that a lot of people will be looking at day in, day out. But also, I think the fact that it's kind of a full stack approach will allow you to see a lot about how a more complicated application goes together and how all the different parts work, which is really great experience to have further down the line. Even if you sort of want to specialize and become just a back end developer, just a platform developer, just a front end guy, it's always good to have a basic understanding of how all of the parts of those systems work together. And
Yeah.
I think this project will give you a lot of opportunities to practice all of those sorts of skills.
Exactly, and also this project is specifically designed for students and open source newbies, right? And you don't have to be like a perfect candidate in order to select, right?
Not at all. Just some basic development skills and the willingness to put in some work. That's really
Yeah, I love the way you mentioned like the willingness. So that's really important, right? We are looking for just
well,
potential like enthusiastic candidates, right?
exactly. Like over the years, I've mentored several GSoC projects for OpenMRS, and the really successful ones have been the students who are really driven, to do this. Are really it's really something that they want to be doing, and that's in some ways the most important quality to getting it done, because at the end of the day, coding isn't really that hard. But being able to stick it out, being able to deal with the frustrations that will come up, because you'll run into things where, why is it doing this, that's a question I'm asking myself every day,
Exactly.
swearing at my computer.
So thank you so much for sharing this information here. Like I think like the people who watch this video, the potential students like you, have now I think like I hope you gain an idea about this project and know the requirements and the expectations. Is there anything that you have to mention like before we line up today's episode?
No, I think just yeah. Please feel free to reach out to me with any specific questions you have about this project, and yeah, good luck.
Good luck. Yeah. So thank you so much, Ian, for joining. I know with your busy schedule and everything. So thank you so much for your time. And yeah, thank you so much for joining and sharing your insights with us.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been fun.
And thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below on this video, and also we will share all the useful resources on the description. And see you on another episode of our GSoC podcast.